In 2014, they called it the Modi wave. Today, they're calling it the tsunami. The personal popularity, some call it cult of personality, of India's Prime Minister, certainly a driving factor in this win.
Modi is very motivational for us. Very motivational for us, and you can see that Modi is working. Even a youth of this country is working. Wanted to work for 8 hours, and is working 20 hours continuously. And always, whether it's Sunday or Monday, always is working continuously and roaming all around the country for the benefit of country.
Modi's nationalist message of a new India has triumphed, with bragging rights on the world stage and muscular confidence against Pakistan and the terrorism India says emanates from there. Even in the left-wing stronghold of West Bengal, the BJP soared from 2 MPs to 19.
We must look ahead. We have to take everyone along, even our worst opponents. We have to take them along for the good of the country. And even after such a huge mandate, we have to walk with humility.
All this despite an unemployment crisis, a bungled demonetisation to try to tackle the black economy, and a controversial sales tax. Beyond the economy, India's seen rising violence against women and alarming levels of hate crime against minorities.
In 2014, it was about development, it was about jobs, it was about cleanliness, it was about taking India forward. This year, it is quite unambiguously not been about any of those things. The Prime Minister himself and the BJP as a party have campaigned on national security, they've campaigned on hatred, they have put up candidates who have cases against them, terrorist cases.
साध्वी प्रज्ञा 3 मुश्किलों में घिर गई हैं.
The BJP candidate on terror charges is Hindu nationalist Pragya Singh Thakur, accused of involvement in a fatal bombing in Maharashtra in 2008. She won big, defeating one of the opposition Congress party's biggest beasts. Congress has been utterly humiliated. The scale of defeat disastrous for the party claiming to be the defender of secular India. Rahul Gandhi, its leader, lost his seat in Amethi, held by his family time and again. Ridiculed by Modi during the campaign, today Gandhi had no explanation for the loss, unable perhaps to grasp that modern India is no longer in awe of the Gandhi dynasty.
Today is the day of the mandate, and I don't want to color the decision of the people of India by getting into a long conversation with you about what I think went wrong. Frankly, today it doesn't matter what I think went wrong. What matters is that the people of India have decided that Narendra Modi is going to be the Prime Minister.
Mr. Gandhi offered to resign. His mother, who remains chair of the alliance of which their party is a member, rejected it. Modi has a huge personal mandate now and very high expectations that his nationalist message should translate into something concrete. It was Vladimir Putin who was among the first to call him up. Well, earlier I spoke to Nalin Kohli, the BJP spokesman, and Kapil Komireddy, author of The Malevolent Republic, which is highly critical of Mr. Modi's record. And I started by asking Nalin Kohli why he thinks Mr. Modi and the BJP have won so big.
No doubt it's a historic mandate because a pro-incumbency, clear majority government getting elected again is not very often in Indian history, at least over the last 4 decades. We believe we owe it to the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the fact that his government had an agenda of positivity in terms of development and reaching out to the poorest of the poor, as also economic development, of securing the country, and with a promise of hope for the future. The voters have given their stamp of approval in a very big in a huge manner.
I mean, now that the voting is over, perhaps you can be more candid than you would have been during the campaign. I mean, are you not a little surprised, given the economic difficulties, given the unemployment figures, given the way things like the demonetisation policy went, that you were not punished for those things?
I don't know, because unemployment has been generated in terms of a debate by a certain group of people. But there's a difference between jobs and being in employment. For example, Uber and the local equivalent Ola have generated 2 million jobs in India. Now, they don't get 2 million people are employed, but not necessarily in a 9-to-5 job. So therefore, this is a wide debate. Certainly, there's a lot to do on the economy. I'm not saying it's flawless. There's effort, it's work in progress. The economy always takes time to deliver things. But people, by and large, obviously are satisfied with how the government has been going about it.
What happens on the international stage with regard to issues like Kashmir, and does it happen quickly?
International relationships, I think by and large, they've been strengthened and they've improved under Prime Minister Modi. We have a good equation with many countries, even at a personal level. India's relationship and India's point of view matters.
Let me bring in a critic who's with me here in the studio, Kapil Komireddy. What do you think this means for the future of India now? I mean, it was billed as a battle for the soul of India.
It's systematically gutted the institutions of India. The Supreme Court, the justices of the Supreme Court came out and held a press conference saying they're under threat. The armed forces have effectively been repurposed as Modi's army. The largest state in the Union is governed by a tonsured bigot in saffron robes. And one of the candidates they fielded is actually on trial on terrorism charges. How is this something any Indian can be proud of?
Nalin Kohli, could you answer that point? How can any Indian be proud of these steps as just laid out?
The beauty about a liberal democracy is that even extreme points of views, as the one that we heard from the gentleman in your studio, are points of views. And, well, one listens to them, one need not agree with them.
But there is a bigger point here, which is, I don't want to rerun the arguments of the election, but Muslims and other minorities, lower castes in India, are afraid of what another 5 years of Mr. Modi being more entrenched will mean for them.
I remember, Krishna, you had asked me this question. I would not even blame if there are people who feel a sense of insecurity, because I do see on the other side of the spectrum, there is also a set of political parties that are thriving on building a psychosis of fear by saying if the BJP comes, then yes, there will be so and so. If the BJP comes, it's going to be the demolition of institutions. Now, that's a counter-narrative. The only way we get across that narrative is by our performance and our work.
Is this a step towards delivering the Hindu Rashtra, the Hindu state, that so many BJP supporters and the RSS have wanted?
So we are a Hindu majority country, but not a Hindu theocratically run country. Pakistan chose to go that way. Muslims who stayed back in 1947 chose to be part of this constitutional democracy, and we respect that diversity. We are the second largest country, the second largest population of Muslims in the world. So therefore, I think that narrative to believe that we are going to be a Hindu majority, Hindu theocratic state is rejected.
Kapil Komireddy.
Yeah.
But the truth is also that the BJP understood modern campaigning. They understood what modern India wanted, or a dream it could sell of a new India. And the Congress party and its allies just failed in that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, BJP sold a dream. It didn't deliver on it. It never delivered on the smart cities it was going to build.
But what this election shows is that that didn't matter, because
No,
people have voted for them again.
This election was not about hope. This election was about fear. This was about the idea that if Modi wasn't re-elected, Pakistan was going to invade India, pro-Pakistanis were going to run India, Muslims were going to be back in command, secularists were going to be back in command. It was not about hope. This election was not about hope.
Last word, Nalin Kohli. How are you going to deliver on the expectations on you now? They will be higher than ever, even higher than in 2014. Are you going to end up having a short victorious war in Kashmir or something like that to try and deliver the people?
I find it fascinating that the world's largest democracy, with almost 1 billion voters, are just like cattle. They don't have a mind of their own. They just are, driven so easily. They just go ahead and vote, and across the country. It's amazing to believe that. It's such a simplistic view. I don't think this was an election of fear psychosis. This was an election of hope. It was an election to further consolidate and work on an agenda of development.
If you believed in development, you would not have appointed, as Chief Minister of the largest state in India, a saffron bigot.
You're fixated on that.
I'm fixated on that because it's a bigot.
You're fixated on that, and it's okay.
Yeah,
You're
it's a small
entitled
matter.
to be.
We should let
but
go
I'll
of
just
that.
simply say we weren't seeking your advice on that, and we don't seek it now too.
You should seek the advice.
I could tell you about many other things you could worry about,
Nalin, what's
but not
become
this
to
one.
you? What's happened to you? What's become of you?
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.